Well, we give you bits and pieces, but we're gonna make it engaging and interactive because everybody's comfortable. Terry's in his office den, and we're all comfortable. But we can make it where where you guys can engage and ask questions and get good answers. And just ask a good question about recycling and what we can do. And I got my notepad too. I can engage that and make that a part of it because nobody ever thinks about the collateral damage that can be done to the environment as a byproduct of plastics and bottled water and all the things we have to really figure out an effective way to be able to remediate that and turn that into a positive in some kind of way, right? And so, I see my friend Dominic Clemens over there, Commissioner Clemens. I like the way that sounds.
Yeah,
that's a great thing. And just think that he went to elementary school with my oldest daughter. That goes on. So I've watched him his whole life. He used to play a tuba in elementary school.
Yeah.
Wow.
So George, it's time for us to open up. Let's see if that bell has any noise.
Well, let's see. All right.
Brother, how you?
I think you're a team.
Not a very big one.
I tell you, he's gotten weaker and weaker.
Sorry, guys.
Good afternoon, Rotarians and guests. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Flint. Today is February 12th, 2021, and we certainly appreciate you joining us today.
Yeah, it's not the buzzer. Yeah, it's the.
Hey, I'm trying to find Fred there.
Yeah, that's.
Hello, Fred.
Yo, Fred.
Next slide.
Can't find him.
Boy, the bell didn't ring.
All right, are you ready? Are we moving on to the next?
There we go. There we go. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair
To all concerned?
Will it build
Goodwill
and
and
better
friendships?
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
And today's inspirational message is going to be given to us by Amy Holby, and she's really looking hard to inspire. So Amy, you are on stage.
All right. Happy Friday, Rotarians. I'm glad to be here with you this morning or afternoon. Can everyone hear? Just a couple mods at my audio. Okay, great.
Yes.
Not going to take a lot of time today, but I was just reflecting on how many roles each of us play in our lives, whether it's a spouse or a parent, a friend, a worker, and how overwhelming those roles can be sometimes, and us wanting to do our best in all of those roles. And sometimes it can feel like there's not enough of us to go around, especially at times like now with the health pandemic and us wanting to be the best we can for everyone. And I just encourage everyone to not let that hinder you from doing the best you can, because the best you can is great for all those people that you love. And it's why I wore this shirt that says, all you need is love. It's just showing that love and taking that time to send a quick message. No one expects perfection, and to just do the best we can every day and fulfilling the roles that we've been given to play. So that's all I have for today.
That's great.
Thanks, Amy.
Great. Thank you very much, Amy. We are inspired. Health and welfare. Are there any updates or reports on the health of our Rotary members?
Yes, Ray, I hope it's Lynn speaking. I hope I'm accurate. I was told, that Howard Shand has had COVID and been in the hospital for like 6 weeks. I mean, a long
Wow.
time, 4 weeks to 6 weeks, but I was told he's doing much better and is going to be released to a rehab center.
Oh, that's great.
So hopefully that's accurate.
Good
Yes.
progress. Okay, thank you for that. Is there any more? Anybody else? Okay, are there guests to be welcomed today?
I have a guest. For the second week in a row, my wonderful wife coming from her work office, Jenny, God bless you.
Hello, Jenny.
Hel- Hello, Jenny.
Welcome again.
Thank you.
Make it a habit. Keep making it a habit.
One day we'll get her to join. All right.
That's great. Any other announcements?
Yeah, President Ray, this is Jane. I don't know if everyone is aware, but the 2021 Civil Awards is coming up on Thursday evening, and because of COVID, we are meeting virtually, but a couple of our own Rotarians are nominees. Anne Marie Van Dyne and Dr. Bobby McCullough are both nominees, and I think I heard last week that is Adrian
Walker?
Yes.
Adrian Walker.
Yeah, so he's also a nominee. And so you can attend virtually for the mere $10 donation to the Hurley Foundation, and potentially have one of our Rotarians receive the Civil Award. And having been a nominee in the past, I will tell you, just being nominated with the other folks that are doing such fine work in our community, that's honor enough. But just wanted to put that out there. You can get information. I can send it to Amy to send out, but it's also through the Hurley Foundation that you can get a ticket. So
okay, and how soon is that? What is the date that is happening?
it's Thursday, the 18th, maybe.
The 18th,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Very good.
18th at 5:30.
Very good. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Next. It's time for today's guest speaker. President-elect Kyle McCreed will give the introduction as Flint Rotary welcomes Flint's busy and knowledgeable mayor, Sheldon Neely. Kyle, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Ray, and good afternoon, Rotarians. Our next speaker is someone who is not a stranger to this club, but someone who we always welcome to have, and we're glad to have joining us today on this virtual Rotary meeting. Just a brief introduction of Mayor Neely. Sheldon Neely is a lifelong resident of the city of Flint. He's a father, a small business owner, and a man of deep faith with an enduring commitment to his neighbors and his community. His education includes degrees from Flint Northern High School, Delta Community College, and Saginaw Valley State University. In public life, he served as city councilman for the 6th Ward of the city of Flint, then was elected to the 34th District of the Michigan State House of Representatives, where during that term, he also served as the chair of the Michigan Legislative Black Caucus. And then, of course, was elected the mayor of the city of Flint in November of 2019. As mayor, he's launched a series of initiatives to save lives and limit the spread of COVID-19, fight blight, support racial equity, and help open the first racial disparity clinic in the state of Michigan. He's been married to his wife, State Representative Cynthia Neely, for 28 years, and they have 2 daughters. Please join me in giving a warm and virtual welcome to the mayor of the city of Flint, the Honorable Sheldon Neely.
Welcome, Mayor Neely.
Thank you, President Giss, and thank you all the Rotarians. And I greet you in love as Amy gave the words of encouragement and talked about love, and that's something very close to my heart. You guys know I'm a deep person of faith, and I thank you for that. And I think that is the best introduction that I've had as coming to Rotary, largely in part because Rob Jewell didn't deliver it, right? So you can please tell him I said it. You know, we greet you today, and I'm hoping that my comments are going to be educational and edifying and giving you a sense of direction and the course that we're going in this community through these very trying times. And I like to describe it as the intersection of crisis. We have crisis. We still have an ongoing water crisis in which we're still dealing with. We have civil unrest in our nation, in our world, and also in our community. And now we have this pandemic that's changed the face of things, the way we do things throughout our country, even now as we greet each other virtually. And so we've been working very hard. It's been just a little bit over a year. We just eclipsed over a year, and we have been working. I have a fantastic team, and that's how we look at it. And we've been doing some really, really good work. And I have to compliment them. But, through the graces of God, we've been able to hit our mark. When I first came in, I told people, the light was dimming. It was like, threading a needle by moonlight. And I told them the good news was that we had a needle, we had thread, and we had moonlight, and we've been able to hit our marks, largely in part because of all the partnership and the goodwill from all of you and all the people that we have put in place throughout the city of Flint to work with us. But let me start off by talking about the COVID-19 and the pandemic and what we've been doing here inside the city of Flint in the greater part of Genesee County to help residents stay safe. So one thing that I do know and understand, there's one deficit that we can never overcome, and that's a death deficit. And so life and safety and welfare has been our focus, and we have spared no expense, even through our financially troubled times. We spared no expense in saving lives. Early on, you knew that we declared a state of emergency very early in our engagement with the pandemic. We didn't have to do much to look down the road to see what was happening in other communities. And as I saw refrigeration trucks outside of hospitals in Detroit when this first happened, it was only a matter of time before we knew that we were going to be facing the serious effects of that pandemic coming down the road. So we declared a state of emergency very early on. I believe we were either the first or the second community in Michigan in order to do so. Then you saw us engage in other proactive activities. We were the only community inside the state of Michigan that engaged a curfew. And that was twofold, to do two different types of things, to get our footing up under us as we were going through the shelter in place. But also we had to get people out of harm's way as we saw people still congregating at different places, stores, party stores, and change the way that they were doing their engagement with one another and their fellowship with one another. Since bars and restaurants were closed, we had to stop the spread of the pandemic. And so we engaged a curfew, which was a bold move. We took some criticism for it. We were even threatened to be sued a few different times by the ACLU and different agencies, but we expressed and we put before them our argument about life and safety, and they backed off. We shut down City Hall. We're still in a closed state right now. We modified some of the things that we do here at City Hall. We cut out a wall in the front of the building, and we put up a walk-up station to allow people still to come and take care of their business, but also protecting them and our city workers as well. So we did a lot of measurements of proactive moves as it relates to how we were to face this pandemic. And so I'm very proud to say that we save lives, and I'm not apologetic for the things that we had to do in engaging that. And also been making sure that we try to do our very best to reduce the volume of crime as we see a national uptick throughout our country as a byproduct of, I believe, this pandemic. And so, some of the other things we did, we were still moving. It's a moving target, and we had a lot of help from our philanthropic friends. I want to always give a big warm shout out to the CS Mott Foundation, the Ruth Mott Foundation, Community Foundation, and those that have of like thinking that says, okay, how can we be of support and how can we be of help? Also, when I arrived, there had been no plans put in place for the 2020 census count. And which made it a little bit more difficult because, usually these operations start the support structure to be able to put a full count committee together throughout the county and the city. Those infrastructures had not been put together. But again, through the help of our partners, we were able to secure a person that was involved in the 2020 census count, 2020 census count, and then we brought his skill set and his expertise to the 2020 skill set, along with all of our partners. We were able to do much better than we had done in the previous years. And so that was one of the things, because that's going to impact us moving forward, getting our fair share of the allocations that the federal government was going to be dispensing throughout our country. We've done well there. Also, one of the other things that we had to overcome, our city jail was closed. We closed the city jail, which is operated by the county sheriffs, in order to not have a spread of the virus. And also the employees that would be working in those areas, the city jail was then closed. And so we saw some reduction in the way that we were doing law enforcement, which we still don't know the outcomes of how that has played out in the overall scheme of making sure our community is safe. But then we engage in a strong partnership with Michigan State Police, also with our college campuses and universities, University of Michigan and Mott College. Through the expansion of law, these law enforcement entities have the ability to actually police our streets. And so we asked them to partner with us to broaden their scope around the campuses in which they secure, to give other officers of MSP and local police departments the opportunity to do more triage type of activities and engagement. Our police force was anemic. We had less than 100 officers actually patrolling the streets from top to bottom. We engaged in a big campaign, Flint Born, Flint Raised, Flint Proud, a campaign to try to hire and secure more officers inside the city of Flint. We've been able to do so. We have more officers on the streets now than we did prior to my arrival with that campaign. And also with the civil unrest piece, we hear a lot of criticism about the officers that patrol the streets should look like the community in which they serve. And so we did that Flint Born, Flint Raised motto. We've secured a lot of officers, good officers to that effort. And plus we had to be able to secure good personnel, because, no one wants to engage in an activity or a career that they could actually lose their life for the empowerment of our community for a very low wage. And so we raised the pay for incoming officers so we can attract a good crop. And we're still engaging in that now. And I was left with the work of trying to engage my co-equal branch of government in a loving way. Thank you, Amy, for helping me with the spirit of love, because when I talk about my co-equal branch of government, I think of a few of those faces, and I have to just say I love you to those individuals, because it's been problematic, because sometimes we have run across permanent and constant obstructionists to the greater goal of providing a greater, better, and stronger society. We've been doing well. I'm glad to say that my administration we have 100% attendance rate at the council meetings, those long marathon meetings. Staff is there to answer questions, to provide answers, and we're trying to work through it. We have great relationships with our counterparts in the state and also in the federal level. So we're bringing all these things to bear because we have challenges. You will be hearing in the next few months about challenges about our unfunded liabilities and also our Medicare costs for our retirees. And many communities throughout the state of Michigan are facing these things, and these things have been ignored to the greater part. The trajectory was already set. We have more retirees than we have workers. Communities are looking at shortfalls in their budget, revenue streams drying up. So we're looking at ways that we can build a better, stronger society and refit the things that we need in our society, and having our priorities take top issue. We're working at ways to try to fix our long time legacy costs, not with an emergency management, not with insolvency, not with bankruptcy, not with any of those things, but we're working at trying to bring the best and brightest minds together to be able to help us figure it out. And I'm confident, I'm encouraged, and I'm going to go forth, and we're going to be threading those needles by moonlight every day. We're going to be doing that. But what I definitely do need is like thinkers, good individuals. I talked about Dominic Clemens, a new commissioner. I know Kyle McCree has just got a promotion on his job. And Kyle, I'll be sending you an invitation to many events because I know promotion comes with other things. I'm only being serious, guys. But most of all, I want to make sure that we get our questions asked and answered in a transparent way. We don't shy away from the toughness of answering questions. We will do so. I definitely care much more about the next generation than I do the next election. We will stand boldly out there. and do the things that's necessary. But we have to reunite our community. We have too many divisionary type of engagements. My mayor race was very highly contested, and it was very engaging, and so somewhat it was a civil war in the African American portions of our community. I've been trying to mend those wounds and bring our community together because we don't prosper. We've heard this in many places: a house divided cannot stand. And so we have a lot of issues around race. You know, Genesee County is the second most segregated county in the state of Michigan out of 83. We have, you know, definitely one of the most segregated cities. We have a lot of disparities, but we've been able to overcome these things. And if I get more people to the table in dialogue and talking about these things, we'll be much better off as a community. We know the pandemic has separated our nation and it exposed the disparities of people of color versus people not of color, because we've seen the impacts and the devastation in those communities as a byproduct of the COVID. But we were able to close the gap here. And so the city of Flint has been an example on how to close the gap in those disparities. You know, we've hired Dr. Lawrence Reynolds to be our health advisor. With the help of Dr. Deborah Furholden, they've been able to provide a lot of insight to the direction in which we go toward. As you see that I'm the only mayor probably in America that has never disconnected any water user for the lack of payment. That started before the mandate from the governor. Actually, I would like to say the governor took our lead, because maybe 2.5 weeks before she made a mandate, we started reconnecting people to the water system to help defend against the deadly virus. And that was under the advice of Dr. Lawrence Reynolds, in which we hired. He told me we had to do something to be able to help these people defend themselves. And so we ordered the reconnection of every water user that had been previously disconnected. It does do a drain on our water sources and our enterprise funds. But as I said it when I started, we spared no expense to save lives. And I won't apologize for saving lives. We still have some of our obstructionists out there. I'm trying to still extend the olive branch out to those individuals, but sometimes it doesn't work, and we have to keep on moving forward and pressing forward. And so if it's okay, President, yes, I would love to answer questions from our Rotarians, and that way I won't filibuster the whole conversation. That way you guys can get some of the good information that we have to give out. And we could talk about one of the campaigns that I started was a fight on blight. We had a lot of problems with illegal dumpers inside the city of Flint, dumping and using the city of Flint as a garbage can. Unlike when I was growing up, it was like I had Hootie the Owl, you know, give a hoot, don't pollute. It was a lot of those type of things that we had pride in our community to whereby people weren't dumping. But through a grant, we were able to incentivize people telling on those that would be dumping illegally in our community. And now we're seeing the turn that our community is being cleaned up. We cleaned up more than 2,700,000 pounds of garbage. That's not the garbage that you take out to the street. That is the garbage that we've been picking up in these dump sites. More than 2,700,000 pounds of additional garbage. And I was talking to Ann at the beginning, and she said she had a great experience talking to Heather, which is a member of our team that specializes in the waste collection. But we've been doing strategically been doing a fantastic job with our neighborhood safety officers, our blight officers, trying to get these things cleaned up. And now for our crime pieces, we're developing the new Crime Watch and asking residents to engage in the overall crime strategy to make sure that our communities are safe. I just didn't want to forget those pieces. And I want to get one more before we end the Q&A. We also want to honor people before their legacy takes place and where they pass on. We believe in honoring people while they're still here for their tremendous effort and being patriots to the community. For February, which is Black History Month, we'll be honoring 6 individuals for their input and their guidance to our community in the African American sector for their achievements. One of the people that we're honoring posthumously is Dr. Nathan Bertley, which was the superintendent, probably the first African American superintendent. And actually, out of college, he gave me a job. A 21 years old guy working in secondary education, maybe 3 years older than some of the students that we had. He poured a lot of confidence into me and allowed me the ability to be able to stand early on. And so I would always be internally thankful to him and his legacy, what he's done for the community. Some of the other individuals is Clara McGee, which was over the Human Relations Commission for many years. And she does a lot of great work in our community with fair housing. The Clacks, Brenda and Floyd jointly will be receiving award from us this year as well for their tremendous stands and that we've had. Norm Bryant for his work with the African American Hall of Fame in our community, and also being a stoic business owner. But we wanted to, and I can't, some of the other names are slipping me, Mrs. E. Hill Deloney for the Freedom School and her work with the NAACP for many decades, and also the Juneteenth activity, which is the oldest African American holiday in our country. We'll be honoring these individuals, and I think we scheduled it for February 24th at the Flint Development Center, which is located on ML King on the northern portions of our city. But we definitely want to give them the highest award that I'm able to give, which is a key to the city of Flint. The key really doesn't open much, but it should open the hearts and minds and let people know and understand in the spirit of love, as Amy Hovey told us in the beginning, that we have to have these things and honor those that do many things. And legacy is much more about what people are left in, what people leave inside of us versus what they leave us. And so we have to continue to push forward. So President Guest, before I go on with another speech, I'll turn it back to you to open up for the Q&A.
All right, very good. So we are opening it up for questions.
I have a question for Mayor Neely. I'm Reg Lancaster, retired clergy, and I know that we have a wonderful amount of public service taking care of many families in the community. But what I want to know, Mr. Mayor, is about how many families or houses don't have heat and don't have enough money for food.
Well, I guess we have to go on a census track and look at like the low to moderate income areas. And so, usually Catholic Charities, Department of Health and Human Services, and other county entities usually gets the intake for that type of information, to have that type of information. But we definitely we have a good infrastructure built in place to make sure we can help those families. Usually if we get a call at the state level or here at the local level, we point them in the right direction to be able to get the services in which they need. As far as homes without water, all they have to do if they don't have water, and I don't think it's very many left out there, all they have to do is call the city of Flint. We will restore their water services. And I think we probably restored over 700 users to our water system that had previously not had water before. But when we talk about not food, we have other places with our partnerships and our network. We have food stations that distribute food weekly, food and water weekly through the philanthropic giving of Nestle Corporation, who provides water, bottled water. We have the Greater Holy Temple, Bethel United Methodist Church, and I believe it's one more that we have that's weekly on different days that supplies food for those individuals. But I'm unsure how to really give you an answer because I don't know a specific number to give you, but definitely there's enough services out here. If people just need the information to get to somewhere, we'll make sure we provide them a level of help or a concierge service to get them to where they need to get the services in which they need.
Yeah,
Jim
and
Richardson?
I would add that from Catholic Charities' point of view only, and you mentioned it, Mayor Neely, and working always on what's going on with the food situation in the community. There's actually we're throwing away food because we have so much extra. It's kind of a sad situation. So many organizations have stepped forward, different people, organizations, to provide food and make it available, that nobody should be going hungry in our community. Now, the question is, can they get to it? How is it? And all the rest of it. But you should know this community at this point in time, for our poor and underserved, there should be plenty of food out there for them to make sure they don't go hungry. So that's just speaking from Catholic Charities' point of view and what I hear in our reports and
But
what I
Bob, I
hear.
understand.
Jim Richardson, you had your hand up first.
Thank you very much, President Ray. Mayor Neely, I wonder if perhaps you could say a few words about the code enforcement program that you've added some more code enforcement folks to, and discuss a little bit about the homeowner loan program for repairs.
Right. Absolutely. It's a good thing. When I arrived here, one of the first things that we started doing was engaging in a financial audit as well as an operational audit. In many cases, operational audits can save you more money than your financial audits. When you look at the inefficiencies and the things that need to be done and how we can carry out services in a better, more effective way for residents, it saves you money. One thing we noticed is that we didn't have enough code enforcement officers to go out there to be able to protect residents or renters in our community from those bad property owners and those absentee landlords and things of that nature. So that is underway. We had to perfect a city ordinance. They had to get through the city council. We've done those things, and those people, those new enforcement officers are on the streets right now. But also we have to look at those who are having trouble, the retirees and those that may not, they own their home, but they may not have the dollars and cents in order to put things forward. And so a collection of individuals from our philanthropic community, business community, government agencies put together a pile of dollars in partnership with Habitat for Humanity to provide, loans, low interest, no interest, and forgivable loans for people who own and occupy their homes for up to $20,000. They can get these dollars to help renovate their homes. There's no income criteria with this, but there are other small criteria. But the basis criteria is that you own a home inside the city of Flint, and that's your primary residence. Getting these dollars long-term will help us because, structural blight happens. Sometimes, you see people with tarps on their homes, or they may have a dilapidated front porch. We can't allow these things to continue because at some point in time, they will have to walk away and move, and we left with this particular structure. So this is a proactive strike, improving the aesthetics of our community. And we're gonna be looking at doing more. There's $1 million at it right now. I'm looking at putting another $500,000 in the next few months toward that effort, but we have to get the kinks out and then getting the access portions put in place so people can access the good information to be able to apply for these loans. Even when we talk about renters, MISTA is delegating out a lot of dollars. $600 million have been allocated to the state, to the state of Michigan. The county is probably going to have about $36 million to help people pay their rent and utility bills. G-Card is going to be administering most of them, and Catholic Charities is going to be doing a lot of them. And I'm offering real estate space inside this building to be able to do outreach, and so people can do a one-stop place to get the information they need to be able to get their rent help paid and or their utilities, and that's from consumers as well as the water utilities paid. And so there's a lot of programs out there, but it's been a breakdown in communication in the way that we communicate and how it gets to residents. Even with the vaccinations, we know that there's only so many vaccinations, but the county operates the vaccinations through the health board. And then there was a lot of criticism saying that African Americans are not getting vaccinated and people of not of color are getting most of the vaccinations. And those are the matches that strikes and lights up a powder keg of hostilities. It was misinformation. People of color only represents about 27% of the county in total, right? So, so it's not going to be, a big lineup of that. But in order to quench some of that, Commissioner Brian Noden and other commissioners, has helped put together a program. This week, one of our local churches had about 500 vaccinations to be able to reach out, and we used our faith-based networking system to get to people that we could not get to before. That's the messaging, and get them there to get them the vaccination. And so networking, communication, and partnership. I've always talked about the 3-part plan: prayer, planning, and partnership. And that's why I'm so happy to always engage you as Rotarians because this is the partnerships in which I need to be able to strengthen and develop, to be able to reach out with a phone call, and tell individuals, hey, how can you help me with information? How can we be a partner to you? How can we enlist our services? Working with the Flint Community Schools, we have to have a public school system that works. I'm in contact with Superintendent Anita Stewart almost weekly, asking how can I be of assistance? How can I help? But we cannot fall victim to the chicanery and the divide, and so we have to evacuate and sometimes sanitize that environment when you see dysfunction, because we have important work to do. And I'm about doing that business, and we're going to do it. We're going to charge straight ahead. I hope that was that Richardson, that was an essay answer. That was from my top grade. I hope I hit your question and hit an answer.
Yeah, it sounded like a Mayor Neely answer to me.
Doug, I saw your hand up.
Yeah, Mayor Neely, my name's Doug Bacon. I'm past president of TGI Direct. And I was curious, you brought up the increasing the starting wage of our police officers and talked about the diversity of our force. And I'm curious about what the starting wage is these days. You may not know that off the top of your head, and just to get a sense of the change in diversity of the force.
Well, our marketing campaign, we wanted to make sure we reached out to the high schools, colleges, and traditionally places that we didn't reach out to try to recruit those officers. The starting wage went up about, I can give you percentages because we did it through the contractual wage, and then also I allow some other activities through overtime allocations and some grants that we received in. So it's about maybe a 4% or better increase at a starting base. And then we move up in increments. So the starting base went up. So the starting wage for our patrol officers went up. Then we started moving them up in increments with the collective bargaining units, providing them a good livable wage. And so, so the base salary for about an officer inside the city of Flint is around $50,000, or just a little bit under that. So we tried to raise that up a bit from where it previously.
Joel, did I see your hand up?
Likes it.
Pardon me? I know that I have a canine fans there, so.
That's good.
I've got a question. First of all, I got to tell you, you're doing a great job. And
yes,
we should all be thankful for that. And also, I love Flint. I got to put that right out there. I worked there, inside the city a long time. But I guess my question regards new business. Mayor, what are you doing to try to bring new companies, new businesses into the city of Flint?
Right, and just so you know, that's my old friend Joe Fike. When I was a junior in college, I did an internship at WJRT TV 12, and as part of my internship, I was put on an assignment with Joe Fike and a photographer by the name of Mark McGlashan. After that engagement, they recommended me for a job, and they changed my life. They made me stay here, and I fell in love. Joe, look where I could have been somewhere if you hadn't made me stay around here. I could have been doing something great. But to attract new businesses, we have to look at it with the business eye. There's 32 units of government inside of Genesee County, and we're in competition with all 31 to be able to attract business to this area. Much like the Lear Corporation, we have to maximize upon those incentivized things that bring corporations to our community. The Good Jobs Bill package that we came through in Lansing attracted corporations like Lear to come here, providing them incentives to be able to attract here. But also we have to make it a warm and inviting environment. We have to be able to provide services for them, police and fire, make them feel comfortable here, and then give them some of the best real estate we have to offer as we work with the Racer Corporation to rehabilitate some land on the northern portions of our city of Flint. But it's just an inviting environment, right? At some point in time, when we get beyond this, my vision, you will see the city of Flint rolling out ribbon and doing ribbon cuttings with our partners with the Genesee County Flint Regional Chamber of Commerce in partnership, doing different things. And it's just about services. What can we provide them to come here? The Mahindra Corporation, we were really working very, very hard. We were one of 5 states that was being considered for the new manufacturing for Mahindra. We put a really good package on the table, And some of our philanthropic friends really put their thumb on the scale to help us. And and we hired a guy by the name of Kelfani Stevens, which is our economic development director. We recruited him from Atlanta, Georgia. Was doing a fantastic job, and we had a great meeting with that corporation right before the pandemic hit. And I know we had catapulted either into the number one spot or the number two spot with the partnerships in which we created with the state of Michigan, our philanthropic friends, and what we were offering here. I really felt good about that, and that was going to be a game changer. And for those of you that don't know, Mahindra is the manufacturer that manufactures, mail trucks for the government, right? And we with our Congressman Dan Kildee, I mean, we brought our whole team to the table, and we put a good package there, and we were in the hunt. We were there right before we were stricken with this pandemic. And so to attract businesses, we have to make ourselves more inviting. We have to do partnerships, and then we have to plan strategically on how we're going to attract other businesses. And if I have to get businesses from Flint Township, Grand Blanc Township, Swartz Creek, we will put a good package in front of them to bring business here. And because the revenue streams in which supports a community such as Flint, our school system, we have a small income tax, we have property tax, and right now those revenue streams have historically not been always the best on millages, because a lot of our land space inside the city of Flint is nonprofit entities. I got more than 400 churches inside the city of Flint. We have schools and hospitals, and we can't collect property taxes on those entities. And so we have a small portion of the city of Flint in which we can maximize the revenues that we need in order to support the whole activity. And so we have to be very creative in the way that we support our community. But to attract business, Joel, we have to clean up the city. The blight of mind, the crime, then we have to come together in prayer, and then we're going to be able to attract those businesses. But we definitely have to put a good package and make it more inviting.
So is Mahindra dead? Is that project dead?
It's let's say suspended for now, because we lost that. But I'm going to go back to the table just as soon as we can look at what is going on, and we're going to continue to offer what we can using some of the space that was previously owned by General Motors. Those sites are still being remediated. Yes, but for right now, it's paused for, and I can't tell you if we're going to be able to resurrect it. But we were there. But the same philosophy and the same planning, we can attract other companies. And I'm even thinking about globally. I don't just think about. I talked about our county, but I think globally about bringing companies here and even putting a team together to go out there and attract businesses. And so it just takes time. And like I said, we have a lot of things on our plate. I'm working hard. And so I'm glad to see where you at with the Disability Network. I'm looking at partnerships. I'm not going to jump off the side of a building to support you, but I will write a check. He asked me early on, just so you guys know, whoever he asked to jump off the side of a building for a fundraiser, but I volunteered Kyle McCree to be in my stead to jump off the building, give him a rope or not. I don't really mind. But we're here, and I thank you for your partnership in the new chapter in your life, Joel. I'm very excited for you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Any other questions?
I was just waiting on Kyle to respond to that. Really just nominated him for. He's pretty silent, so I guess that's a no.
Yeah,
he's thinking Kyle is at another meeting right now. He's doing double duty.
All right.
So he's not hearing everything that's going on. So he's there, but only occasionally.
Right. And Kristen, afterwards, I was looking for your number yesterday, but I'm at the. We want to. Your grandfather was nominated as well, but we have not been able to contact the family to validate that. So we need to get in touch with you guys.
Sure, absolutely.
Mayor, several mayors ago, or not several mayors ago, several police chiefs ago, indicated that we had 50% of the police force that we need for our city. Now that was 2, 3, 4 years ago. I can't remember, but he came in and made a very powerful presentation to Rotary and about the shortfall that he had trying to police the city properly. And I just was curious, does that situation still exist, Or do you feel we are at a level that of police force so that we can have the safety in the community that we need, and so forth? So it's just a question.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not at the level that we need. You know, by national standards, we have less police officers per population numbers that we need. Well, but we have the police force that we can afford right now. But through our partnerships, we have, you know, with the Michigan State police officers and also those college campus officers and also the county and sheriff's department, we have to work a networking system out to be able to get to where we need to with law enforcement. Right now, through the Secure City Partnership Initiative from the state of Michigan, when I was at the state, we were helped put that together for communities like Flint, Saginaw, Pontiac, and Detroit, dispatching state troopers to different jurisdictions to be able to help and assist in law enforcement where you have an anemic amount of officers. We have 44 assets here inside the city of Flint, and that's the Michigan State police officers. When I say assets, that means personnel in our patrol and also our detective bureau. So they're subsidizing where we're lacking. And also we have other assets, you know, with our community colleges, right? We're college rich here in this town. We have, you know, Baker, well, excuse me, not Baker, but Kettering, University of Michigan, Flint, and Mott College. Public colleges, their officers have through state statute, they have abilities to help do more policing in engaging ways, but we still have safety officers at Kettering and different things. But through a networking system and partnership, we are able to handle the full load, if that makes sense. But as a municipality, police officers, no, we're not at a level that we need, but we're at a level that we can afford and sustain. Fire and police is about 75% of our general fund budget, right? And so when we have to make cuts or cutbacks, that, you know, being 75%. And so that's what I'm trying to stay off. I'm trying to fight back against those things. We have not had to lay off anyone here, even through this traumatic time. About 45% of my personnel is working remotely from home. And it's been a challenge to get them to actually work remotely sometimes to get a full value out of them. It's just the nature of it. But we've been doing fantastic. If you drive around on a day like when it snowed last night and you woke up this morning, you had clear roads. You know, John Daly, our transportation director, has taken and done a fantastic of making sure our roads are clear, and the personnel that engages that. And we have to have a good protocols, COVID protocols in place to make sure our whole force is not debilitated with the COVID. We've had places in spaces, you know, with firefighters, you know, we have to make sure that we don't get the virus and the spread through there where we'll lose our whole force. But with mutual aid throughout our county, we're able to subsidize the firefighters that we have with the out county area firefighters. If we need additional resources or personnel, they'll come in to help us suppress or fires and then do some life-saving measures as well. So when I talk about partnership, when I talk about those things, it wasn't because I was in the P section of the dictionary talking about prayer, planning, and partnership. It's really what an agenda really speaks to, how we have to engage each other. And also going back to Amy Hovey when she gave her inspirational words, we have to do it with love and not hostility. And our nation needs that. You know, when I spoke when President Biden came here and Obama the weekend before the election, my speech was about not having malice, hostility, or hating your heart, not voting against something, but voting for something. And that's what we have to have here. It's the previous administration that was here have not communicated with this office whatsoever. We started, and luckily I had enough of a support base and knowledge, institutional knowledge, to be able to put us back on track and move us forward. And that's not a slight, but that's just a reality. We have to be able to pass the baton forward and keep moving forward in our society and our community. And I will continue to extend olive branches wherever I can for partnerships, but I won't slow down the pace of making sure that we engage the very serious issues that we have.
Very good. Excellent. Any other questions?
Dominique Clemens had a question. Dominique, didn't you have a question?
No, I'm all set.
Next screen. We got that next.
Dr. Giss, I think I bored all the Rotarians to sleep.
I'm looking for my next screen.
Oh,
here, we're down here. There we go. That's my thank you. Mayor Neely, Flint Rotary again thanks you for your perspective in this engaging presentation. In appreciation for the time and preparation that you donated for our enjoyment and education, the Rotary Club of Flint will make a donation in your name to the Rotary International Foundation for the eradication of polio. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for indulging me, and God bless all of you guys.
Oh, yeah. Great job. Great job. I want to thank our Rotarians for the very inspiration, our Rotarian, Amy Hovey, for the very inspirational message, and also our note taker, Brian Sanderson. Flint Rotary thanks each and every one of you for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed our program as much as we enjoyed welcoming you as members and guests. Please join us next Friday as we continue our governor's presentations with Representative Cynthia Neely, and that name sounds awfully familiar, and also Representative John Cherry. Stay safe, keep warm, and look to open opportunities in order to provide service above self. We are adjourned.
Ding.
There you go.
Oh,
Fred's got him.
I left the volume on the bell.
You gotta unmute Fred. He has a bell with him.
Thanks everybody for chiming in and joining us. We are going to have a real bill for you pretty soon. George and I are going to have a consultation and a sound consultation with headphones.
I might have to get a real bell in here.
Hello, James, Reverend James. How are you?
He's muted.
Reverend James, Jim.
Robert Sabilski.
Yeah, there he goes. Hello, Mary.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Nice to see you. Hi, Bill.
Bill, how you doing?
Yep.
Hey, is that dog got membership?
I don't. It's not my dog. I don't have a dog.
Man, he's mad about something. Probably trying to get in here.
Ray, another nice meeting. Thank you very much. And that was done well.
Very welcome.
Done well. And I think we have a really, really promising mayor.
Oh, yes.
And he's a man of faith and looks very positively to the future. So I'm very encouraged. Very encouraged.
It looks like he's got answers for everything.
It seems like he's a workaholic too. He's got a lot of things to do.
True. But he also sounds like he's got a good team though. I don't know many of them, but I assume they are good players.
John Daly.
Whose dog is it?
Mine. That's Buddy.